I felt trapped, as if I was in a cage.
I thought love was supposed to make me feel safe, but all I felt was constant anxiety.
Toxic relationships. Recognizing and breaking free. When you hear the term toxic relationship, what comes to mind? For many, it evokes an image of a controlling partner, a demeaning friend, or a family member who's unsupportive. It's a topic that's garnered significant attention in recent years, and for a good reason. According to a study by the National Domestic Violence Hotline, over 60% of young adults aged 18 to 24 have experienced some form of abusive behavior in their romantic relationships. But toxic relationships aren't restricted to just romantic involvements. They can be found in friendships, familial ties, and even in the workplace. These relationships, characterized by patterns of abuse, manipulation, and control, are pervasive and often challenging to identify. As per the World Health Organization or WHO, prolonged exposure to toxic relationships can lead to an array of mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, and lowered self-esteem. Moreover, these relationships can also have tangible physical consequences. Stress-induced ailments, from insomnia to heart conditions, are often linked back to the persistent strain caused by toxic interpersonal dynamics. Rihanna, a name synonymous with chart-topping hits and avant-garde fashion, is a global icon known for her fierce individuality and unabashed authenticity. But behind the glittering facade of stardom, her relationship with fellow artist Chris Brown took a tumultuous turn in 2009. Thrusting the issue of toxic relationships into the limelight. Their whirlwind romance was the talk of the town. They were young, wildly successful, and seemingly in love. The media painted pictures of two lovebirds, constantly seen laughing, attending awards, and collaborating on musical projects. However, beneath this glamorous exterior lurked a darker reality. On February 8, 2009, the world was taken aback when news outlets, including CNN, reported that Chris Brown had assaulted Rihanna. The aftermath of that night saw a courageous Rihanna taking the difficult step of separating from her partner and seeking legal protection. In subsequent interviews with publications, Rihanna delved into the complexities of their relationship, highlighting the escalating pattern of control, mistrust, and violence. She spoke of the duality of her emotions, where love and fear coexisted. Rihanna's revelation was eye-opening to many, emphasizing the fact that toxic relationships don't discriminate based on fame, fortune, or social standing. In the aftermath of such high-profile testimonials like Rihanna's, there's been an increased emphasis on academic research to better understand the nature, dynamics, and outcomes of toxic relationships.
Disclaimer. This video is intended for educational purposes only, and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Let's now continue our journey to better understand mental health.
A groundbreaking 2018 study from the American Psychological Association, or APA, showcased that nearly 33% of Americans admitted to being in a toxic relationship at some point in their lives. However, what's even more concerning is how these toxic environments affect mental health. The WHO found in a 2019 report that individuals in toxic relationships were 50% more likely to suffer from depression, and 65% more likely to experience anxiety disorders. Moreover, a Harvard study linked toxic relationships to physiological problems like cardiovascular diseases, implying that the harm isn't merely emotional but physical as well. Moreover, there's a noticeable lack of culturally sensitive research in this domain. The International Journal of Social and Behavioral Sciences pointed out in a 2020 article that much of the existing research predominantly focuses on Western populations. There's an urgent need for more inclusive studies that account for diverse experiences and backgrounds. The Journal of Interpersonal Violence defined toxic relationships as interactions between individuals that result in physical or emotional harm, characterized by behaviors such as manipulation, aggression, and control. These relationships can manifest in various forms such as 1. Romantic relationships. One of the most discussed forms of toxic interactions happens in romantic partnerships. According to a study by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, nearly 10% of US adults reported experiencing some form of relationship violence in the past year. 2. Friendships. Toxic friendships are especially prevalent among younger populations. The National Association of School Psychologists reports that 15% of middle school students and 12% of high school students have experienced toxic friendships characterized by peer pressure, consistent negativity, or one-sidedness, where one individual seems to invest more than the other. 3. Familial ties. Family bonds are foundational but aren't immune to toxicity. Overprotectiveness, manipulation using guilt, and the refusal to recognize boundaries are common signs. 4. Work relationships. The workplace isn't exempt from toxicity. A 2020 survey by Forbes found that 64% of employees have experienced or witnessed toxic behaviors in their professional settings, such as bullying, excessive criticism, or the spread of harmful rumors. Understanding the magnitude and prevalence of toxic relationships is not just a matter of statistics. It's about recognizing the widespread nature of an issue that often goes unspoken and misinterpreted. Key indicators to look out for may include emotional manipulation, making you feel guilty or responsible for the other person's emotions. Controlling behavior, dictating who you should spend time with, what you should wear, or how you should behave. Constant criticism, regularly putting you down or making you feel inadequate. Neglect or stonewalling, refusing to communicate or address issues. Gaslighting, making you doubt your own reality or memories. Recognizing one's presence in a toxic relationship is a pivotal first step. Aside from consulting professional therapists, counselors, and joining support groups, several tried and tested treatment modalities can guide individuals towards reclaiming their autonomy and self-worth. In a world where toxic relationships touch many, understanding their intricacies and developing strategies to combat them is paramount. Here are some recommendations. 1. Education is empowerment. Familiarize oneself with the signs of toxic relationships. Institutions such as Harvard's Making Caring Common project recommend regular workshops and seminars on relationship literacy, which have proven effective in equipping individuals with the tools to identify and address toxic patterns. 2. Seek professional guidance. Early intervention, guided by professionals, is a key. 3. Establish boundaries. The National Institute of Mental Health, or NIM, suggests that clear boundaries can deter manipulative behaviors and protect one's mental well-being. 4. Stay connected with support systems. A 2019 study from the University of Cambridge highlights the vital role a robust support system plays in helping individuals recognize and exit toxic relationships. Regular check-ins with loved ones can serve as touch points of clarity and reality. 5. Prioritize self-care. Engage in activities that reinforce self-worth and self-esteem. The American Psychological Association, or APA, underscores the importance of self-care in building resilience against psychological stressors. Navigating the labyrinth of human relationships is never easy, especially when confronted with toxicity. Yet, armed with knowledge, supported by professionals, and buoyed by a community of well-wishers, one can not only recognize and exit toxic relationships, but also rebuild and thrive. Embracing hope is essential. Recognizing toxic relationships is part of that story, but it's not the final chapter. The journey ahead, filled with self-discovery, growth, and boundless potential, awaits.